Well, we are here in Elk City, Oklahoma. We've actually been here 10 days now. We decided to come and hang out with Neil and Dawn for a few weeks and get some maintenance done while we're here at Nomad Neal's business, and we'll also be getting some maintenance at Rolling Retreats. Slade will be doing a few things to our RV, and we'll have that in next week's video. Tell you what we're getting done with Slade. But this week, what are we doing?
We've already done.
What did we do?
We had some lithium batteries put in.
So our RV is a 2021, and it came with 4 lead acid batteries.
Well, I purchased 2 more batteries.
Yeah, when we ordered the rig.
So Ricky came to me and he says, Neil, I think I need some batteries. I need some lithium batteries. What can you give me? And we went with 3, primarily because that's what we were able to get a deal on. And those 3 will fit inside of the original battery box on one side in a DRV on this particular model. JX450 2021, it's got 2 battery boxes and 3 battle-borne batteries. The 100 amp hours will fit in the left battery box. So that's what we did.
Speaking of batteries, do you want to know why Neil is pulling our rig into the shop with his truck? The day he was supposed to work on it, our truck had a dead battery because someone left the key on.
Of course, this had a battery tray with 2 lead acid batteries, and there was quite a mess in there. We won't talk about that. We'll just say that we took care of that.
Yeah.
He knows the cost of staying.
Yeah, and it went up the farther I read.
So here's what his shirt says. $165 an hour, $185 an hour if you watch, $225 an hour if you help, $275 an hour if you work on it first, $325 an hour if you and the forums tell me how to do my job.
That's pretty cool. And there's a lot of reality to that.
So we have all 3 batteries in this compartment. We had 2 batteries there, and we had 2 batteries over here. So now we will have an empty box.
Charge a lithium battery under freezing conditions, so the internal BMS will shut them down to protect themselves when it's low temperature. So the purpose of having the heaters is so that they don't shut themselves down. It's to keep the battery heated, so that way you can still be using them. So that's what that is for. So now we're going to take those red wires that are laying right there, and those we string across from each battery top terminal that has the heated terminal on it, the little Phillips screwdriver or Phillips head. So what I'll do is I'll put connectors on each one of these, go to the switch, and then off the switch back to one of the positive terminals on the battery. That's what activates it. And we wedge 3 batteries in there and put new wires on everything. These are heated batteries. He doesn't have to worry about when he's somewhere where he's not able to chase 70. see if we have any arky sparkies when I do it. I see lights. Light. That's great. Ricky, you want to turn your other battery switch on? I'm going to turn the inverter back on from in here.
And you got a switch in here that switches the battery heater.
Yeah.
Where'd he put it?
Huh?
Where did he put it? Oh, that's the switch for the heater?
Yeah.
Okay. So that always needs to stay off unless you want to.
Unless it's cold, yes.
That's our switch for the heater. These batteries have heaters.
You know, we try to chase the 70-degree weather, but these batteries are heated. So he put a switch on it to where if we are in a place that it's cooler, then I can turn the heater on, where if he hadn't have put the switch on it, they would have been on constantly.
And then in the original, or the other original battery box, there was another battery tray with 2 lead acid batteries here. We just removed all of that, so now he's got some extra storage. We did the best we could to clean up the existing wiring that was here for his 12-volt system, his generator wires, as well as the wires that are good that run over and power the existing inverter. Now he's got a Magnum 2800 inverter. One of these days I'm going to convince him he'll go Victron for it's over. Now that he's got lithium batteries, just wait, it's going to happen. For those lithium batteries, we installed a Victron 500 amp hour shunt, which is over here. So we put in the shunt and then the battery switch. We haven't programmed this yet. We're going to do that with your 2 phones here in just a moment, so that y'all can install the app, see how to monitor it. But we'll program it, tell it what batteries there are, the size of the battery bank, so that it knows how to monitor the actual state of charge, all of that stuff. So we installed a Lynx distributor so that we could run all of his 12-volt power into that with fusible links inside of that, and that's about it.
Why would you switch to the different inverter?
Well, if you don't do any kind of boondocking and you don't expect to run anything more than what you currently can when you're not plugged in, then you really don't have to change. If you do any kind of dry docking, boondocking, dry camping, you're fine where you are as long as you don't need any more extra power. That's pretty much it. Now, if you want to be able to run your entire coach, this inverter isn't large enough to be able to do that. And ironically, we could put in a whole house inverter from Victron into your coach, and that inverter costs less than this one does if you buy it new, which is kind of crazy. But with a whole house inverter, you could literally turn everything on inside your coach, minus your air conditioners. And then if we add soft starts, you could run an air conditioner one at a time off of a single inverter. So there's always more room for improvement, right? Upgrades.
Well,
You got to have reasons to get up in the morning, right?
Well, there was a guy that was going to send to us one that plugged into the pedestal.
Honestly, I can't speak on that because I haven't used one yet or seen how it works.
Supposedly, basically made everything a soft start.
But what about when you're boondocking? You don't have a pedestal to plug into.
Yeah, you don't.
So then
that's
you just-
why I didn't even take it, because I couldn't even hook it up to my generator.
Right.
What that is basically for people that doesn't have an inboard generator, that they can hook that into their generator, have soft start on the air conditioners, and maybe run one, just depending on what they got, or 2 if they had big enough. But
Well, most systems, pretty much every system that I do, eventually they end up wanting to be able to, if it's nothing but a harvest host overnight, they still want that power to be able to do that without having to be somewhere where they're having to plug in. Now, you have an onboard generator, so for you can crank the generator up and then you've got, you can run everything inside your coach. But If you're somewhere you can't run that generator, then you're limited on what you can run, and then that's going to make you choose. Well, where am I going to stay tonight because I can't run my generator at certain places? So, but anyway, most systems that I install, we do soft starts on everything. Anyway, once the system has the ability to power the air conditioning, we have to put soft starts in.
But the 2800 that I have is capable of charging the lithium batteries.
Yes.
Without having.
Yes, and we did go in and change the settings in your inverter remote, so it now knows that it's plugged into lithium.
We knew that it was getting time to replace those. What's the life of those? About 5 years?
Normally they say 5 years. I mean, I've tried to keep up with them.
Yeah, and our coach is coming up to 5 years old, so just as a precautionary measure, we knew it wouldn't be long till we would have to replace those. Ricky started looking for the lithium batteries.
Well, anybody knows me, my friends Warren and everybody else, I've been talking. It's like trucks. I just do a whole lot of talking. Occasionally, I'll follow through with the talking. We've been going to get seats in the truck for 5 years.
Oh, and you watched that video from last week.
Yeah, we just finally got them.
Catastrophe that was.
Well,
so go back to that video.
Is.
But we are here at Nomad Neal's, and he is actually on the property that used to be Rolling Retreats. So Neal does solar installs. He does high performance LED lighting, and he does
lights.
Fire suppressant. And he also has done a few of the complete strip and reseal of your RV, and that's where he strips all the old caulking off and recaulks it all to cover all those cracks that might cause you some water leaks. But
actually, there's a gentleman here right now that just had that done.
Yeah, he just did one, and that's, what did he say, about a 6-day job?
4 to 5
Pretty
days,
intense.
yeah.
You wanted the lithium batteries for what reason?
Well, everybody knows that you can pull them down lower than you can a lead acid battery. Most times if you put a lead acid battery below 50%, they're throwaways.
But we don't have solar, but
we
wanted the lithium. There's no maintenance involved.
But we were going to put some solar on it, and we had some things scheduled, and they just kind of dissipated, and we were scheduled to
we had our roof put on before.
The flex armor roof before I got the studs put in.
So now if we go back and do it, it's going to be twice.
I actually had the coach wired for solar, and we can still go back and put some. It's just going to be more expensive because you have to cut those studs out.
But switching the batteries from the lead acid to the lithium is a little more intense than just unhooking wires and rehooking wires back up. Well,
he put a shunt in so we could determine the usage, and like on our trailer, 2 were on one side and 2 on the other side. Thankfully, the box on the left side, well, actually both boxes are the same size, but it wasn't anything above the box on the left-hand side. But thankfully, the batteries, they are very tight fit. But
they all three fit on one side.
Fit in the one side without having to take the wall out or do any of that. So, yeah, and it's, more wire and intense. It's a lot of things, And
but one good thing about Neal's business here, he's in the center of the United States.
Yeah.
Just off of I-40, so very easy to get to, and Neal does just excellent work. I think everything looks neat inside.
Yes, yeah, he's
the battery compartment.
Knew we were coming through here, and and there again, if you're in the HDT world, I can almost assure you, if you don't know Neal, you've heard of Neal and Dawn, and just great people, just like I believe in Rolling Retreats and Slade and Alicia, and it's the great thing for us. They're both right here, some of the things that, you know, Slade probably won't fool with, Neil's able to do, and vice versa. So it's just you know, for people with DRVs, it's a one-stop place. But I didn't ask Neil, but I can almost 100% be sure that he doesn't just work on DRVs.
Right, he doesn't. He does all RVs.
Yeah.
Whereas Rolling Retreats does the maintenance on DRVs, but they put the flex armor roof
on anything.
Any RV.
But they don't do any maintenance.
But Neil doesn't just
work on
DRVs. He works on any RV. So
actually, I think the last time I was here, it was a guy who had a motor coach in the shop. Neil was helping him with some batteries.
Yeah. We hope you all have enjoyed the video. Maybe learned something about installing batteries.
Just call Neil.
Yeah, just call Neil. Don't call us.
Don't call me for nothing except to eat. I'm pretty good at that.
But we will see you next week as we are heading on over to Rolling Retreats for some maintenance.
Yeah, and that's something else that people need to, that have the IS independent suspension, needs to look for.
That's what we're having done, is some new blocks put in. So we'll be with you next week with that video. So if you want to find out more about Neil and everything he does, like I said, he does the solar, the high performance LED lighting, the fire suppressant, and some strip and seal. So, and in our case, just installed batteries. But if you want to find out more about Neil, you can go to his website, nomadneal.com. We want to thank all of you for following us along on our journey as Ricky and I are soaring together and living life in different places.
Elk City, Oklahoma.
Thanks for watching.
How did you get yourself?
Make yourself a little more presentable for the video.
Oh, no.
Glasses on the nose.